Hey everyone, thank you for viewing the for sale video for my Bring a Trailer auction on my 1972 Sport Custom Camper Special. Let's go walk around a little bit and show you a few things about it. Well everyone, thank you, like I said, for viewing my video. First off, we're going to do a walk around of my 1972 Sport Custom. I'll give you a little bit of a history about it. I got it about 4 years ago. It's actually the first bump side truck that I purchased for myself. I'm kind of a bump side guy. I have since picked up quite a few, but this was the very first one I got. It is real nice, original truck. It had been repainted prior to my ownership, and it has been painted since I've owned it. I've had it repainted. First off, talk about why I had it repainted. Somebody had backed into my mirror here and put a dent right here in this door. It caved in this door right here. So unfortunately, we had to do some body work to it, insurance payout on it. We were able to reuse the original door and knock out the dent here. It looked worse than it was. This is still the original door from when I had it. I think it's the original to the truck, but we were able to fix that. And obviously there's probably going to be a little bit of Bondo in here, but not a bunch in here. You know, it still sounds like good metal in there. The body guy I use, he's kind of an old school guy. He knocked a lot of it out, and it's just very minimal Bondo in it. But anyway, wanted to share with you that and disclose that information. The repaint was done when that happened because the paint was kind of faded and oxidized and had chips all over it and stuff. So if we redid that door, it was going to make the rest of the truck look kind of goofy, and we weren't able to match it, so we just did a respray on everything on it. So that's why we did that. So there's not a lot of blemishes on the truck as far as the paint wise, but there is some. So since we're talking about paint, I'll go around blemishes. There is stuff like see this trim here has got some damage to it, and this tailgate insert has got scratches on that right there, stuff like that. Let's go around. I know there's some spots right here. The paint, the door latch here was for the toolbox was painted over. I didn't like that, so I removed the latch and tried to remove the paint and paint it gray, but some of the paint chipped right there. Can you see that? So there's some little damage right there. There's a little bit of damage to the trim right there. We replaced, I believe it was this trim is new. It had a dent right here, so we just replaced that while we painted it. Over here, under the hood, there is some damage right here. I'm not sure what happened there. I noticed it when I was actually working on the engine on this truck. We'll talk about it a little bit later. But there is some damage right there on the hood, the leading edge of the hood. You can't really see it from up here, but unfortunately it is there. There's a spot right here that's got a little bit of paint blemish there. And otherwise, I have pictures throughout the truck of everything. So try to picture everything I could on the truck, obviously. There's a little dent right there in the trim for the fender. You know, anyway, that's just an overview of the paint blemishes anyway. There's some of the chrome is missing off of that trim right there. You know, stuff like that. I've replaced the hardware on the mirrors, but I did not polish the mirrors. On the inside here, the insides of the door jambs and everything were painted, as well as the door jamb area in here was painted as well when we did the exterior repaint. This stuff is all original. I replaced the buckets, whatever you call these, door handle buckets. Replaced those. These panels are original, and some of the chrome is flaking off of them, as you can see there, and it's split right there. If you can tell that, this armrest here has got a little bit coming apart right there. Give you a little close up there of that. As we move in here, I replaced the steering wheel with this one. I am including the original with the sail, although it's missing the horn button and it has cracks in it and everything. So that's why I went with this steering wheel here. And it has air conditioner, and the air conditioner does work, although it does lose charge after about a month or 2 months of setting. You'll have to recharge it, but it does work. I charge it up in the beginning of the summer, maybe once again, middle of the time of the summer, you know, when I'm using the truck, and seems to work well. Other parts of the year, I just don't mess with it. I have a aftermarket radio in the truck here. If I can get the power on here. There we go. There's the radio. We'll try that a little bit later on and show you that it works. But yeah, this is the interior of the truck. The seat I believe is original. It has this tear in it right here, and it had the build sheet behind the seat. It was coming apart, and I was going to lose it, so I pulled it out to try to preserve it. I have pictures of that in the gallery, and that is included with the sale. It does have a tag right here, so that's the seat. I've replaced the fuel sending unit and a new float on that. The gauge bezel here is a replacement as well, and the dash pad is a replacement. I dyed up a blue dash pad for that. So those things have been replaced. The headliner is original, as well as the visors in real nice shape, nice and clean. Some really nice shape. And the floor mat as well is original. It still has the blue tinted floor mat in it, which is nice to see. Hey guys, I wanted to jump in here while we're talking about the interior. I forgot to mention, if you saw in our gallery, there was some rust holes right here in this area, in this kick panel. When I was cleaning out the interior and pulling the floor mat up, I noticed a little rust hole right in this area. I did some investigating and poking around, and it ended up to being about a $50 size hole there. And I cut out new metal right there, cut out the old metal right there, and replaced it with new metal, and also replaced the seam sealer. I had to chip away the seam sealer down there, so replace that. So that's all taken care of. Painted it to match. The floorboard here, there was some pitting on the floorboard. There was no pinholes, and it's actually really solid in here, so no structural problems there, just a little bit of pitting on the surface. So I painted it with some rust preventer coating to take care of all that, so that it doesn't continue to rust in any way. So that's all taken care of. I wanted to mention that since I forgot to mention it in the first time. We'll move on to the under hood portion. Did a lot of work to the engine as well when I did here recently. Right here, the exhaust manifold was leaking, and it had actually ate through part of the cylinder head, and there's a divot in the cylinder head that was leaking, causing the exhaust leak. So rather than just pull the manifolds and put a big gasket in there and try to get the seal, I elected to pull the cylinder heads, and while the cylinder heads were off, we did harden valve seats and little valves, and we had to replace a few valves, as well as a few valve guides and new seals, valve seals, and put them all back together, and obviously re-sealed the intake manifold and all that. Rebuilt the carburetor, new air cleaner, and had to replace the heat riser tube for the automatic choke. But other than that, everything is as it would be. As far as engine wise, new spark plugs, you know, that kind of stuff. I did replace the compressor, I think probably 2 years ago. It's been converted to 134A, and all the hoses are new. The air conditioner condenser is new. The dryer is new. The only thing that's not new is the evaporator under the dash. So if the leak, whatever causes it to leak down, I'm guessing is in the evaporator, the original evaporator there. I did put some dye in here and was not able to find a leak. So unfortunately, I don't know where the leak is, but it works nonetheless, and just kind of goes down after a month or two. On the valve covers and air cleaner, I sandblasted and painted those, as well as the intake manifold. Put a new timing set in it as well, all steel timing set. Let's see, new fuel pump. The fuel pump was replaced when I got it. Several months after I got it, the fuel pump quit working. I replaced it, and then here recently, after I did all this work to the engine, I fixed the exhaust leak, and the engine quieted down a lot, and I could hear a tapping noise. And I tracked it down. It was actually the fuel pump arm was loose. So I put a new fuel pump on it, and that fixed that. So the engine is actually really quiet. In fact, let me start it up since we're talking about it. It idles really nice and smooth. It's all quiet. It's a lot nicer now that it doesn't have that exhaust leak. It does have dual exhaust on it with turbo mufflers. So if you heard that little rumble in the back, that's what's going on back there. Exhaust is hooked up underneath there. And that was completed in 2014, prior to my ownership. Dual exhaust. The truck is running fantastic after I did all that engine work to it. It was running good before, but just had that exhaust leak that made it pretty loud. It has aluminum radiator in it. The original radiator was leaking, so sprung a leak on me, so I elected to put a aluminum radiator in it. And otherwise, it's just nice original shape under here. The all of this has been touched up, the paint wise anyway. The inner fenders I think have been touched up prior to my ownership. There's just some black paint overspray on stuff like that. I think kind of, you know, gives you an idea that somebody touched this stuff up before. I have underside pictures of everything underneath it in the gallery. It does have a undercoating under the truck, and a real thick black undercoating, and that stuff, where it has started coming away, you peel it off and it looks brand new underneath it, so there's no rust underneath it that I can find anywhere. The stuff seems to preserve the truck really well, so that's nice to see. I would much rather it be clean bare metal so you can see how nice and clean it is underneath it, but if it did its job and protected the truck, I guess it's all right. I sourced some hubcaps, these stainless hubcaps. I sourced these. I also painted the wheels, sandblasted and painted these wheels, and it has new Maxxis tires on all four corners. The hubcaps, a couple of them have sticker kits on them. That one doesn't. That one doesn't. I guess these two over here do. The black part was kind of fading away, so I got some sticker kits, and some of it wrinkled here. So I will include more sticker kits if you wanted to redo that, but I wasn't good enough to get that vinyl on there just right. So there is a little bit of a wrinkle there. You can't really tell unless you get right up on it, but wanted to point that out. But anyway, guys, this is kind of my walk around video of it for you guys. If you have any questions, feel free to hit me up. We're going to take it out and do some driving with it, and we're going to do a driving video on it and kind of give you my impressions of how it drives, since you guys can't, a lot of you guys can't come and drive it. I want to give you impressions of how it's driving and things like that. Another thing before we head out, I redid the brakes front and rear. The rear has new brake liners and new wheel cylinders and new wheel seals. Those were leaking, so I replaced all that. The front, the liners were good. I did put new wheel seals in it, and hardware kits. I think hardware kits in the back, but inspected the wheel bearings in the front as well. But we're gonna go head out and do just a little bit of driving with it, and we'll see you guys on the road. Well, guys, we got this thing out on the road. We're doing a little bit of driving test with it so you guys can see how it drives. The power steering and power brakes feel great. Power steering is nice and easy, nice and light. It does have a smaller diameter steering wheel. This aftermarket steering wheel is just a little bit smaller than the factory ones. The factory one's a little bit bigger for like the manual steering trucks, but this power steering truck, I like this smaller steering wheel. Just makes the steering ratio a little bit quicker. But we're doing some driving here. This thing drives awful nice and straight, real quiet. It's nice and quiet in here. The engine just purrs along. Transmission is shifting nice and smooth. It doesn't have any flare shifts or anything like that. Shifts through the gears fine. We're in third gear already. Cruising here at 50 miles an hour. It likes this pretty well. It's probably most happy cruising around at about 55 to 60. It does have 355 gears in the back, so that helps with the highway cruising. It will go 70. I've done 70 a few times with it on the highway, but you know, mechanical sympathy kind of kicks in, and I kick down a little bit, about 65. But it will do 70 if you want her to. Nothing wrong there. We'll kick it up here to about 65, so you can kind of maybe hear how the engine sounds at 65. Here's 60. So accelerating through the highway speeds here. And here's 65. So we're going 65 here. A little bit of wind noise, so I'm not going to get it too fast here so you guys can hear what I'm talking. But while we're in here, this thing rides awful nice and smooth. We have new coil springs up front and new shock absorbers. This thing just floats down the highway just like it should, and steers nice and straight. It's a little bit windy today, so I'm not going to let go of the steering wheel, but it does pull straight. Doesn't pull one side left or the other. So anyway, guys, this kind of gives you an idea how this thing drives in here and gives you a feel of the inside of this truck. We're going to head to the shop, and I'm going to show you guys the features of this truck and show you how everything works and all the functions and everything. So let's go ahead to the shop and I'll show you guys that. guys, we're back in the shop here after our road test. Before we go over the functions test and everything on this truck, I wanted to point out a few things I forgot in the overview. I do have a spare tire to go with the truck. This was mounted under the bed whenever I got it, but it was mounted with like some fence posts and some all thread and stuff. And you have to have tools to take it down, and you have to hold it up there while you're taking it down and stuff. It didn't seem like it was very feasible to do on a side of the road. So I elected to take this off when I had it up on the lift and put it in the back of the truck. Unfortunately, it does not have the factory spare tire carrier, so it does include a spare, but it's just loose in the bed of the truck. Now these bed rails here that are pictured in the gallery, these do go with the truck. They were on it when I bought it. They mount in the holes here on the side of the bed. They are a factory Ford, or they are a Ford part. They have Ford in there and have a D3, which is 73 part number. So I don't think these were on the truck when it was new, or like since new. Since it has that 73 part number, it would have been like like a day 2 option, or maybe the first year or something. The guy put some these bed rails on it, but I elected to take those off. I just like the cleaner look without them, but I am including them in case the new owner wants to put them back on. So let's start our functions test here and kind of show you a few through the truck. Start with lights. Headlights. Both the headlights work. High and low beam. Headlights are on. Marker lights are on. Side markers here. Tail lights. Side marker. So go ahead and click on the low beams for you. The high beams are on right now. Low beams. Back to high. Blinkers. Got the left blinker going. And up here. Now the light on the dash for the left blinker is not working. So I don't know if it's a bulb or anything. I forgot about that when I had the dash out. But the left blinker light is not working. However, the right blinker light does work. And the blinkers work as well. Right blinker, and the one up there works as well. So those are the blinkers. Guess we can do horn while we're here. Horn works as long as you push it hard enough. Wipers, low and high, and as well as the washer bottle works. So wash your windows. Emergency flashers. They are working. And brake lights. You see them coming on back there. So those all work. Now in here on the air conditioning, it has a 3-speed blower switch, but only one of the speeds is working. The second speed, so you know, that speed is not working, and then the second speed it comes on. So all the speeds aren't working, but I found that speed to work just fine. So I just left it be. Now on the heater, all 3 speeds work on the heater, so as the heat controls, defrost, and your temperature slides, obviously. Now the radio comes on. Probably not going to pick up any stations here in the shop, but see. Yeah, the radio works. The courtesy light works. Light's on. There's a switch right here on the door jamb. It shuts it off when you shut the door. That works, and it works on that side as well. One thing that doesn't work is the reverse lights. I didn't get the reverse lights to work, so not sure what's going on there. But another thing that doesn't work is the neutral safety. It will unfortunately crank in all gears, so you have to be a little bit careful there. But I think it's bypassed in there. It might have been given some problems earlier on, so that is not functioning. I have not tried the parking brake, but the release does work it. You know, I haven't tried to see if it holds the truck or anything, but everything, all the parts were there and everything when I redid the rear brakes. Under the hood, it has this Dana cruise control. Now it is not functioning. It had a on the turn signal stock. It had a thing there, all the buttons that work that. None of it was working, so I took that off for put a stock one on it. So this is here. The speedometer cable still runs through it, but that is not functioning anymore. If you saw that in the pictures and wondered what that was, but yeah, I think that's most of the features on this truck. Overall, I would call this truck like a driver plus, maybe. Nice driver. Definitely doesn't have, you know, a high quality show truck paint job. You know, like a $20,000 paint job, you got to worry about driving the thing. You know, it's good enough that looks good and turn a lot of heads, but it's also not so nice and pretty that you're afraid to drive it. This truck, I think, would be perfect for someone that wants to go out and drive it because it has dings here and there. It's not 100% perfect, and there's like a little bit of overspray on it from all the paint job it's had over the years on stuff like right here. There's a little bit of overspray on that and stuff, you know, stuff like that. She's not 100% perfect, but I think it'd be a really nice truck for somebody that wants to take it out and use it. So if you guys have any questions about the truck throughout the auction, hit me up, send me a message, comment down below. I'll answer all the questions for everybody. So I hope you guys enjoy this truck and love looking at the pictures and watching this video. Thanks for watching all the way to the end. Have fun at the auction and happy bidding. Thanks, guys.